to you.
Now, how did you stumble across these, or was it something you sought out? Was there like a pamphlet? I mean, how'd you come across that? Because I mean, that's in the age of information, it still fascinates me how difficult it is to find resources when people are in a time of need, especially when you're in such a heightened level of need. I mean, that's
yeah. There were zero resources for me, actually. The birth moms I'm referring to are all ones that I've been talking to in the past decade. So
gotcha.
Back then, so this was the late 80s. It was called the Yellow Pages Adoption. So
can we explain that to our younger guests?
Oh man.
And that was a nightmare because I'm literally on the phone and there some places are offering, all I'm looking for is I need a place to live and I need medical care and I need my son to be able to be with me. That's it. They're offering money. Well, you can go to Pennsylvania so that nobody will know. You'll be able to come back into your hometown. And I'm just sitting there like scratching my head. Like, first of all, I'm not looking to get paid and I'm not ashamed and don't need to move. So I finally, find a place that felt right. And it was right. Everything was really good. And I did have a social worker that was helping me with it, but she was really, her role, she's just a beautiful woman. Her role was to make sure that I was going to actually go through with the adoption. So, she would just ask me questions like, based on the family life that you were raised in, are you sure you're making the right decision? How are you going to feel not knowing what kind of family he's going to?
Good questions, sure.
They're valid, very valid questions. And the crazy thing is, I didn't know what the word faith meant. I had no idea what faith really meant. I had heard it,
but
I had never felt it until I reflected on those moments. And I
the George Michael song. Yeah.
100% that was faith.
Faith. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know if I should save this for the end or because it's kind of a follow-up, but I don't want to escape this. Did you ever find information on your birth parents?
I did.
And
should have saved that for the end. Should I? Josh, editing note.
I'm gonna tell you, like when I tell you my book is good, like my book is good, right? So,
yeah. By the way, the book
Trauma people buy the book.
The book.
This was literally within a year of finding Nathan, my son. I found my birth family, and they were alive. Both of my parents. They lived in Florida. I had just moved to Florida from Connecticut. And they had told nobody about me and were very surprised. It was a first cousin who found me and really didn't believe I existed because nobody knew. So what happened is my parents were not married at the time that they got pregnant with me and they decided to place me for adoption. And my mom moved to Tampa to do that, had me, boom, I was gone. 2 years later, they went on and they got married. They got together and then they decided to go back and try to find me. And I was way gone. I was already on my way. And they went on to have 2 other children. So I have 2 biological sisters. So when I finally, reached them on the phone, I mean, that was really, they were in their my mom was in her late 70s and dad was in his late 80s. So it was pretty magical to be able to meet them all and know them. My dad passed away a couple of years ago, but that was just like the coolest relationship I ever had for 4 years.
And your son got to meet him.
He did.
Both your sons actually. But
I have 3. I have 2 other sons. Oh, so yeah.
That's really. I should have saved it for the end. You're right, Zaz.
It's okay.
The book is Trauma Recycled, which you can find it at Peshka.com.
And down in the right-hand corner, of course, we have that ad, and we have a QR code I believe Josh can put up there in the top of the screen. You can scan that, and that will take you to Amazon page where you can buy it, or you could go to anpeshka.com where you can find all this information. But, your story's worth. I'm going to buy the book. I really want to read this. I grew up in a traditional, whereas my mother eventually, towards the end of her life, admitted that my sister's math was correct. They got married when she was pregnant with my sister and then had 4 more kids. Versus, this is all fascinating to me from a different side of things. I didn't experience any of this. In fact, my parents stayed married until my dad died. And I don't understand often the difference between in-laws and step. And all this second cousin-y things because we were just a small.
Are you
little
humble
family
bragging
that,
right now, Nathaniel? Because I don't think I appreciate.
No,
it.
No. It's not a humble brag. It's I'm really outside of this story you're telling, and I don't think what I'm trying to encourage people is if you weren't adopted, if you didn't go through what we're going to discuss soon, your major life changes. There's a fascination. There's something to read from the outside that I'm fascinated with. So I'm gonna buy your book. Yeah. It was not at all. It's like my life was very.
I was messing with
you guys know me.
That.
If I talk to somebody who's very different from me, I'm diving in. So, so this is I know Zaz has a question here, but
I keep alluding to it, but it's like I was so fascinated by it because she just like there's so many details to this story. I'm sure there's like 2 books you could write just about the backstory. Like you're creating your own like cinematic universe here, and it's like. But yeah, it's like, and this next piece, it's like, the sense of choice seems to have returned in March 2020. You walked away from an unhappy marriage and a pre-retired life with essentially nothing. What was the exact moment you realized your silence was costing you millions emotionally and professionally? ... It's March 2020, which if like Nathaniel said with his math, that's around COVID lockdown too, correct? So you love to have these moments right at the most like epic times of stress.
Thriving in chaos, right?
I mean,
for you.
I have so many questions, but let's
Well, you know what? I mean, I think when we hear unhappy marriage, we realize that it didn't happen in like a nanosecond, right? So it had been brewing. So, and once again, wonderful guy, right? I don't have a history of bad, evil men. I just have a history of me and these men not being at the right time, the right place, the right framework. Is probably the best way to put that. So anyways, we're just going along our way. We're living in paradise. We're partially retired. Life could be just totally amazing. I'm working part-time for Delta Airlines. I've got this great little job. I'm loving it, and I'm bored out of my mind. I had been 3 jobs my entire life, and we moved to Florida, and now I'm working like 10 hours a week, and I'm just coming out of my tree. So I start looking for something to do. I'm like, what can I do? I got trained with the Red Cross to be a volunteer for emergencies, disasters. And one day there was a Groupon to get your real estate license. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, I don't know. It's like, never thought about real estate, but it's only $65. Like I really can't screw that up, right? $65.
I took
that class in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
No big deal, right?
I think everybody should know most of the stuff taught in those classes, by the way.
That's actually a very valid point. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I mean, I think that, the point I'm making here is that there are so many situations in my life, and it happens to everybody. Everybody has these beautiful, incredible moments that are disguised as hell. Okay. So taking the real estate exam was not exciting. It was information that I was like, ew. But I did it. It was a challenge, and I love a challenge. So 30 days later, I've got this swanky new license. I've got this cute little business card, and I really don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it was a thrill that I passed the test. It was really kind of it. $65, passed the test. And then 2 weeks later, COVID happens. And I remember sitting there at the airport when
I have to point out, this is not a great time for anybody in real estate, let alone somebody who just started. Go ahead.
Hence why the license was $65.
It was kind of, you just kind of sitting there like, I mean, it was terrifying, seeing that was trauma for sure, for all of us. That was a level of trauma that was hard to get.
Changed the world, changed everything forever.
All the airplanes are stopped. Like there's no people, everything's happening. So we all take this leave of absence voluntarily and kind of sit there and go, what am I going to do? And I'm sitting at home and I begin to feel and reflect. I have felt this level of bondage before in my life, and I will never go back to that again. And I just felt so powerless that everything was going to come in on me, suffocate me, and I was just going to die like a bug if I didn't do something.
Right.
Wow. And that's when I just sat there and I said, you know what? I looked at my husband at the time, and you know what? We're not happy. And, I wish you well. And, I'm sorry, but we kind of knew this was coming, and we parted ways. And the first house I sold was my own. And then I took my little dog, who was like my soul person, and we moved to a town where I didn't know anybody. And I'm like, I'm going to start this business with this particular brokerage, and I'm going to just tear it up and make shit happen. And that's what I did. And it was the best magic ever, ever. I could have never made that up.
Well, I did want to touch on your soulmate dog. I totally, just so you know, I sympathize. My dog is right there in front of me. She's the best dog I've ever had. And I'll say that about every dog I've ever had. Gracie is right over there. You lost your best friend, your soulmate. And in that, you know, you had to come, you had a light bulb moment that helped you process the loss differently than any other in your life. In your life, can you describe, I don't want to go bummer on the show, but like that light bulb moment, I'm interested in the.
Yeah, because I think it's important. I think that these lessons are super important. You know, I mean, and being human beings, we are hardwired to recognize and feel loss, right? Almost more so, I believe, than to recognize and feel gratitude first. 100%. So when Wesley died, and Wesley, I mean, anybody that knows me knows he was like my right hand, like he was my entire world. But I realized, and he died very, very suddenly, and he died at a time when we were completely rebooting. Like we were going to go have this like brand new mad life, right? Everything was going to be completely just on our terms, like it always is. And boom, he just goes. He's gone. So I'm sitting there like, all right, the first reaction is complete grief. Like I've lost, he's gone. I can't breathe. And then it didn't take long. It was probably an hour. And I started sitting there going, wow, you know what? This is kind of weird. Like, how did this happen at exactly right now when I really needed him? But did I really? And then I just started moving through that, you know, and I recognized that when he found me, he left me in such a greater way than when he came, you know? So everything, and I just had dinner tonight with a friend of mine, and I just still, it's very uncanny to me. I'm like, can you imagine the timing that Wesley had was just exactly the way it was supposed to be. And he did exactly the job he was supposed to do. And so much gratitude for that.
I have two friends who recently lost dogs, and I'm pretty sure at least one of them will be crying openly right now. Your description of that.
It's hard.
It's hard. A lot of people, there are a lot of people, I should say. I don't believe anybody in this room who really believe that animals are family. And I am one of them. My dog is my daughter. My cats are my boys. I will protect them as though they were actually my kids, sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
I make fun of them more than I would a human kid, but they do dumber things. It's also that I think one lesson that I've learned in moments like that are the differences between want and need. I needed you there. I'm like, no, I wanted you there. I wanted you to see what was going to happen. I wanted you to have all the bonuses versus need. And it's sometimes a realization. Have a great one. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Be safe out there. Treat each other well.